Hello and welcome to the All in Football FPL show. This is a special episode for the team reveal that I said I would do. Deadline's tomorrow at 6:30. So after plenty of tinkering, I thought I'd do a video today to reveal my team, Scott's and Tom's team. So thanks again for joining me today, lads. And also Cully's team, wherever the hell Cully is. The boys this year we've decided to do a podcast team together. So I've put together our teams as one team, and we're going to be debating the transfers on the show every week and deciding what we're going to do as a group. So I can't wait for the disagreements over the season. So without further ado, here's my team. I know. Pretty set on this. I'm going to say straight away, I'm pretty set on this. So Sanchez in goal, Bachmann as backup, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luke Shaw, and Tsimikas. That's what he's called, isn't he? Everyone's got him in their team now. With Ben White and Omar Bamadeli as backup. Salah, Mahrez, Greenwood, Barnes as my starting midfield, Rafinha on the bench, and then Ings, Antonio, and Ivan Toney as the front three. Tried to get something here with a bit of balance. I've got a 1 million in the bank for this one as well, so I can move to people relatively quickly. I'm a big fan of the fixtures of all these guys, and I'll be able to show you a little bit of working out about how I got here in a second. But any initial reaction, boys, to this one?
Just disgust over the Man United players. But, no, probably the only one that sticks out to me is, and I'm going to say this wrong, so I'm so sorry to him, but Omar Bamadeli.
Yeah.
It's just because I think he's only likely to start the first few games, isn't he? And then after that, he's probably not going to get a shoe in because he's just filling in for an injured player. So I don't know whether he'll be a long-term option. That's the only one that I would look at.
Yeah, the other guy who was a debate for it was that Livramento for Southampton, the left back they got from Chelsea. But I wanted a 4 million placeholder basically. So that's
Livramento is an interesting one because he might obviously Walker Peters plays in that position, but I've seen or read places that Livramento can play on the wing as well. So if it could be a Stuart Dallas situation with a defender playing in a midfield slot. So I guess that's one to watch. That one.
What's his ICT, Tom?
He won't have played in the Premier League.
And
if he has, it's only one game, so the date wouldn't be very valuable.
If any listeners want to know the best people for each position in favour of ICT, Tom Hughes is your man, not the FPL Guru. Tom Hughes, he's all over that ICT, like
influence, creativity, and threat. Is it, Tom?
Yeah, it's not a perfect gauge, is it? But underlying statistics, XG, XA, you can't take everything off them. But if you combine that with your knowledge of the teams and that kind of thing, especially in defence, it can be quite useful because you can spot some of the players that people haven't thought of. And certainly when I was setting up my draft picks today, you go down the list and some defenders you would expect to be much higher are quite low. So things like that help you identify those options.
One for me here. Surprised to see no Watkins over an innings in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Any particular reason?
I think Ings is better than Watkins at finishing his dinner. That's cool. my main reason.
That's coming from someone who hates Danny Ings as well.
Just don't understand why anyone buys it anyway. But let's not let's not go into his injuries again. I did find it quite funny earlier. We were in our WhatsApp group and Cully was saying that Harry Kane is crocked and shouldn't be bought, and he started like way more games than Danny Ings. Anyway, and he was backing up Danny Ings on the podcast we had.
It's pretty much top goal scorer every season as well, Kane. But yeah,
yeah. Cheers. Anyway,
there's a reason he's not in this. So.
Kane haters, honestly. But also for this team, one of the reasons as well, I like the 8 million price point. And I think I can move relatively easily to if Lukaku comes and starts to kick off with two transfers, like whether it's Mahrez and Ings, I can easily get Lukaku and then still have a good midfielder. Same with Harry Kane. I just think it's quite a flexible lineup. And yeah, the two 4.0s is the only thing defender wise that kind of worries me a little bit about it, but I'm pretty set on everybody else. And this is just one of the things that I do, which I think is a good tool for people to do. If you can write this, I'm usually write this down. I don't even normally do it on Excel, but for anybody who's watching the YouTube video, obviously the green is a good fixture next to the player's name. The red is a bad fixture, and then the amber is a kind of an indifferent one. But I like to figure out who's going to be playing in each game week. So, for example, Trent and Shaw, they're in black just because they're locked in. They're going to play whether they play against good teams or bad teams. Doesn't matter whether they play Chelsea, City, whoever, they're going to play. Same with Salah. I want a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 formation. So I wanted to make sure there was another player, a defender, who had a good fixture every single week, basically to accompany them. So White and Tsimikas do in game week 1, Tsimikas does in game week 2. And then I'll be looking probably to transfer him out at that point for a defender from either like Everton, Leeds, Leicester, a team where they, and this is why this tool comes in handy, a team where they've got a good fixture in game week 3 and also a good fixture in game week 6, because White's is a little bit indifferent. It's playing Spurs. So I want a player who's got a good fixture in 3 and a good fixture in 6, because then I've got 3 good defenders that are playing every week. So Everton, Leeds, Leicester, Newcastle, Southampton all rotate really well with White in 3 and 6. So that's why I do this as a graphic. And also Mahrez, he's going to be a transfer out at some point. And then Barnes that week, I've got City, and Rafinha's got Liverpool all in game week 4. Ings has got Chelsea. So game week 3 and 4 is where I'll be making my transfers, whether I'll be banking a transfer. So I've got 3 frees to use in 2 game weeks, etc. But I do that, and I also find out who my captain's going to be. So Salah, Greenwood and Ings, that's a slash. Salah. And then Lukaku probably in game week 7 looks like someone to bring in, who I think is inevitably going to hit the ground running. I think it's a match made in heaven, to be honest, the way that's fitted in. So that's what I do for mine. So I think it's a good tool to be able to do for you guys as well, to plan your transfers and your changes. Dead simple. There's loads of complicated spreadsheets out there that you don't really need to use. They've got all sorts of algorithms in. Thought it'd be really interesting as well, just to put on here. This was my first draft. So when FPL launched, I was the 56,000th person out of the 5 million that have registered so far to get his team done. So I think it was 56,591. Get your team ID, don't you? And it's not really changed that much. So my initial team I put in there was Sanchez and Gaita, but I put Gaita in because I wanted another 4.5 million keeper. Trent and Shaw are still in there. I had Dean, and so's Ben White. I had Dina and Charlie Taylor in originally. Salah, I had Grealish before he moved to City. Smith Rowe and Harvey Barnes and Rafinha are both still in there. So I've got 3 out of the same 5 midfield. And Watkins, Tony and Antonio is the identical front 3, except I've gone upgraded to Ings from Watkins. So it hasn't really changed that much. I think I've done about 55 drafts, and I've been influenced quite a lot by other things that I've seen. But I always like to just sense check what I've done against what I originally thought. And it hasn't been influenced too much by what I've read and seen. So yeah, relatively similar. Enough about me. Scott Williams, talk us through your current team.
Yeah, current been the word. Chalk and cheese, I think, compared to what it were. So yeah, I'm just backing Pickford. I just love him. I think he's going to have a good season with the Rafa impact there. And Sanchez again. I think I changed him from whoever I had on the back of what you said on the other pod. Similar defense to what we're going to see a lot of people have, I think, in game week 1. Tsimikas, cheap. We know he's going to play. Trent and Shaw just going to be in there for a long time, no doubt. And Ben White, unbelievable value for me. And Veltman as well. It's just one of those that you just sort of, you get in there. I think he'll be playing week in, week out. Brighton, they're okay. Midfield, Salah, obviously. And then this is when it starts. And Rafinha, obviously, for how good he is for value. And then this is where it's changed a fair bit. Buendia, he's been in, he's been out, he's been in, he's been out. He's in. I've gambled on him a bit to start. If he doesn't, I don't mind Raf coming off the bench. I think there's a good chance of him doing something anyway. Leeds always got a chance. Greenwood, I think you said Cavani's not really been featuring, so it looks like he'll definitely be starting either up top or coming off that right-hand side. Both footed as well. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to have a really good season this season, Greenwood. And then Barnes, yeah, I think me, like any of us, I'll be honest, I got stirred a bit by it. I thought he played really well against Man City.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
In a Community Shield. I think Tom said he finished the season really well, and he looks like a player. And I think he's going to play. I think he'll play more than Maddison, even if he's at Leicester. So I've put him in there. And in the front three, I had Ziyech until he got injured yesterday as a little bit of a sort of differential. But I've brought Greenwood in instead, and Tony, love him. Iheanacho, again, a bit of a gamble, but I think on the back of his season he had and the goal he scored, he got the winner, obviously, in the Community Shield. I just fancy him just to come out of the blocks as well. And Watkins, was debating it, but Dean Smith says he will definitely be starting, and he will be starting down the middle because he bought him and he's played him down the middle for 2 seasons, and that's where his position will be. So that's why I've kept him in there. But I think I've got about 2 or 3 million in the bank. I've kept that because I like that. It gives me some movement going forward, because I think I'll be wanting big Romelu in at some point very early on.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the team, and with the Greenwood situation, Martial says he's not ready to play yet. That came out from Man United. Obviously, Rashford has had his surgery. Cavani hadn't returned even as of Monday to training yet. Sancho's in his first week, and Greenwood's had a full pre-season. So I'd be absolutely astounded if Greenwood didn't start the first couple of games with Bruno. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3 behind. Greenwood playing up top and then having like Bruno, Pogba, and like Dan James in the Leeds game. Yeah. Iheanacho, I completely agree. After the performance, as he scored again. I mean, what more can the guy do? He is the talisman for Leicester the last half of the season, and then he's done it again in the Community Shield. So fair play. Buendia, the gamble, but you've got a strong bench. It's the Brighton double up in defence if you were going to, but I like the fact that you've got Pickford. I think you're still going to start him over Sanchez, even if you do play Veltman, even if they've got a good fixture. So yeah, I think you've got a really good balanced team. I like it. Any thoughts, Tom?
No, probably only thing I'd say is that I had Buendia in originally, and it's the injury risk that has put me off putting him in. But like Scott said, he's got Raf as a backup, but that has led me to take Buendia out. And like you, Alex, I've upgraded from Watkins to Ings, because although I think, Watkins may play through the middle, I think we've gone through some data, and Ings just per 90 has generally picked up more points, and that was in a Southampton team where he probably will get more chances in this Villa team, even if he's playing just slightly behind Watkins.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, Tom. I think in terms of the data per 90, which we were discussing earlier, which it'd be great if I had in front of me right now, but I don't. So I'll mention that in a few seconds. But what I'll do anyway is let you go through your team before, and then I'll touch on that data, Tom. Over to you.
Yeah, same goalkeepers as you, Alex. Sanchez, Batman. I think they're solid options at 4.5, and obviously letting you free up funds for the rest of the team. My back 5, you can see that I've made some transfers in there by the fact that 3 of them are highlighted. So I've brought in Target just because Villa have got very favourable fixtures in the opening kind of, I think, 4 or 5 weeks. They've got pretty good fixtures. Target will be a good option. He's got a good threat going forward and potential for clean sheets. Digne is exactly the same. I'm hoping they get a bit of a boost from Rafa, are a bit more defensively solid this year, Everton. And then Digne's always got the threat going forward. He's got obviously the ability to put crosses in, and with DCL on the end of them, very good in the air. I'm hoping that pays off. Tsimikas, who I think is like probably in everybody's team at this point, because Robbo's not going to be playing. Ben White and Luke Ayling, who is probably, I think he's one of the top 10 to 15 defenders in terms of threat going forward, and Leeds kept a lot of clean sheets at the back of last season, and as long as he's fit, he's a guaranteed starter. Grealish, Mane, Benrahma, Salah, Rafinha midfield. I mean, Salah, everyone's got him. Rafinha, most people have got him. I've actually taken Grealish back out again and gone for Barnes. And that will undoubtedly change again by the end of today. And I backed Barnes last year, and I've had him in since the start, and I was talking to you about Barnes. But the reason I've taken Barnes out is because for my team it turns into a clash in, I think, game week 3, where I have 3 players playing each other, and I don't like that. Whereas if I go for Grealish, I don't get that clash. I've only got one. I've not got any clashes in game week 3, so I need to just have a real think about whether I want to do that. And then I brought in Ben Rama for Buendia. He's had a really good preseason, and I think with Lingard going, it will open up a bit of his. He'll become the main kind of creative threat in that West Ham team, and then pretty much similar to 90% of probably fantasy teams at the moment. I've got Ings, Tony. Sorry.
Yeah, so you're right. And Ben Rama, I think 5 goal involvements in pre-season.
Yeah, and I've watched the highlights. He looks really, really sharp. It was
full of confidence, and he looks good.
hit the crossbar. You know, he was on top, he was standing over free kicks, so there's a chance he'll have set piece action and stuff like that. So I think he looks like a very good cheap option for me.
The Ings Watkins data, I found it now, so I know you're on the edge of your seats. But points per 90 last season for Ings 5.4, Watkins 4.5. Goals per 90 that obviously played, Ings 0.49, so half a goal a game that he played. Watkins 0.38, but Watkins was ahead on assists with 1 assist in 4, and Ings had 1 assist in 6. So just marginally better, probably worth that 0.5 better. So actually, like in general, the very, very similar. I don't think it's not going to win or lose things very early on, is it? I absolutely love that you've gone Salah and Mane. I just think that is going to be, you're either going to fall flat on your face or you're going to fly with that. I think it looks great.
I was going to take Salah out for Mane. And you put me off that, Alex. Otherwise, I would, at this point, this draft would just have Mane, and he would be my captain going into game week 1, because although Salah obviously has done it for season after season, Mane has been on the brink of being unbelievable for the last couple of years. He was a real disappointment. He was probably one of the biggest disappointments in the Premier League last year. But this year, pre-season, he has been absolutely flying, goals, assists. He's just, he's been brilliant. There's so many options from that Liverpool team, I think, for the first few game weeks. Salah, Mane, Jota, Tsimikas, Trent, any one of those 5 options, it's really hard to pick the 3. I've gone with Mane. I think they've got really good couple of fixtures. He'll be coming out probably in game week 3 unless he does something special.
Mane before last season, when he still got 176 points, by the way, everyone says he had a terrible season. He still got 176 points. He got 231 and 221 points. So there's no doubt that he's a top option. And just because he had a bit of a bad start and a bit in different form compared to what we used to, he's still unbelievable. Salah, 303 points, 259, 233 and 231. So technically he's in a decline, but still he's got 231 as minimum points wise. And he's 51 point. I don't like to look at ownership too much, because I actually think just pick the best players and the ones that make you happier. But Salah's effective ownership in game week 1 is going to be over 100%, because he's picked by 52% of teams, and he's going to be captained by 80% of those managers at least. The problem is, if Salah scores a hat-trick game week 1 against they played Norwich, aren't they? Game week 1, get that right.
Yeah.
If he scores a hat-trick game week 1 against Norwich, I mean, don't get me wrong, your season's not over, but it's giving you a right sturdy kick in the bollocks, hasn't it?
Yeah, you have to hedge your bets on this one, and Salah might do nothing, but so many people are going to have him as captain. It's almost you have to have him. But and that's why I've ultimately put Mane as an addition. But like you said, if he's getting that many points anyway, it's an easy swap. I've got, like you guys, a little bit left in the bank. If I do end up going with Barnes, that goes to 1.5 rather than 0.5. It then gives me the flexibility to take Mane out for Kevin De Bruyne, for Son, those kind of options. So I'm not worried about the Liverpool double at this point, because I think the first 2 game weeks I don't have to make a transfer there. So I'm pretty happy with it as it is.
Nice. I don't understand how I listen to a lot and consume a lot of fancy football content, and for me, having a little bit of money left in the bank at the beginning of the season is one of the main things I do. Unless for obvious reasons a team makes sense to spend your budget, but your flexibility is your key, because this is genuinely your game week 1 team's a bit of a gamble. You don't have any statistics to go off. There's no form, like there's previous and whatever else. So what you need to do is set yourself up as good as you possibly can do, and then be able to have the flexibility to move about.
There's also the fact that, fair play, obviously you smart move going off pre-season, but don't put all your bets on it, because don't forget these teams, a lot of them are playing League One, Championship teams. It's nothing compared to actually when the cameras come and Sky cameras rolling on Friday or Saturday night. I've picked players in the past that have had unbelievable pre-seasons and done nothing in the Premier League. So yeah, don't go too sort of crazy on pre-season.
Yeah, definitely. There's balance, isn't there? But I mean, when you talk about Mane having a good preseason, he's a proven goal scorer anyway. So it's not like it's not like I've picked out random
It's the Mane
players.
Benrahma thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like Benrahma's that one who's like he looks quality, but he's had a good preseason.
But I think those are, in everybody's team, there's going to be X amount of gambles. I'm going to go for Benrahma. I would have probably gone with Buendia if he hadn't hit the injury. Scott, you're going to have Buendia, and that's probably for me and you. That's what's going to make the difference in game week 1, probably, of players like that, because Buendia could go and get 3 assists. Benrahma could score a couple. It's those little choices at the start of the season, which you just have no idea how they're going to pan out. So Mane's he's had a good pre-season, but he's been brilliant anyway in the past. Benrahma is probably the gamble there.
You've got the way to do the best in fantasy football or winning mini league. There's been loads of work done on the data in the background on these things, but is actually from your 15. Let's go for your starting 11. Probably to have 7 template players, as in template being ones that are highly owned that everyone's got, and then you've got your 3 to 4 players that are that little bit different or that slightly lower owned, that maybe anything from 5% to 15%. Compared to other managers, and they're the ones that make that difference, and you get your captain right along with that, and that's how you do well. People think you have to be so different, but you just don't have to be so different. Cully, we're not going to spend much time on this, mate. You haven't bothered showing up, so your team's not changed. If anyone watched the last one, Martinez and Foster, Shaw, Robertson, awkward, Soufal, Lowton, and Ben Johnson, Barnes, Salah, De Bruyne, Harrison, Smith Rowe, Antonio, Tony, and Watkins. Few notable things in here: Robertson, Lowton, Johnson, De Bruyne. Pretty sure all of those are either injured or not going to play. So cheers for coming, Cully. You're going to be bottom if you haven't made any changes. So you're going to be rushing around tomorrow when we get on this stag do, aren't you, lad? Anyway, I hope you listen to this. You probably won't. So I've put this all together anyway, and this is our joint team. This is the podcast team. And we're going to be working together on this, like I said, this season, making our changes together and debating what we want to do. The team to run through is Sanchez and Bachmann as the goalkeepers, White, Ayling, Alexander-Arnold, Tsimikas and Shaw. Then midfield, Rafinha, Barnes, Salah, Mahrez and Greenwood. And then up top, Tony Ings and Antonio. So this is going to be what our starting template is. And then we're going to work off week in, week out and make our transfers and changes and have a lovely chat about that on the main pod, and probably a little bit more about it on this one as well. Any comments, lads? Anything you want to throw out there about our team?
I think is this. Have you got a page with the starting 11, Alex? Is that
no? I didn't dare have it wrapped.
Yeah, well, so the only thing I'll say is it's an absolute outrage that you back Greenwood over Rafinha, because Rafinha is by many the undervalued asset this year. So just mark my words, Graf will outscore Greenwood this week.
I'm undervalued at my job, mate, but it doesn't mean I should be CEO.
well, that's the team we've put together. We had a vote on who was going to start, and we're benching White, Ayling, and Rafinha and Bachmann, and that absolutely outraged Tom, the Leeds fan, who were playing Man United, starting our 2 Man United players and benching our 2 Leeds ones. I mean, there was a debate. You could have started Rafinha over Tony, but I do think that for the enjoyment's sake, we're all going to be together watching the game on Friday, and at least we've all got someone to back.
It's not about enjoyment, Alex. It's about total point score, isn't it? Just bear in mind, if Leeds do end up getting something from that game, and one of those 2 are involved, it's going to be a long time before you live that one down.
No, it will be good to have someone to back them.
Oh, here he is. Top draw, that one for you, Scotty, as well. As a Man United fan watching the game against Leeds, with a lot of Leeds fans, I'm going to have really hope we made the right decision as the podcast team, lads.
Come on, United. Come on.
I hope so. For my sake.
Which one?
I don't know. There's only one. Join our mini league. So the code for anyone who's listening on the podcast, I'm going to try and get this out as well on the podcast version as well. 2P, that's for Papa, 5QC Quebec Charlie, and then the number 4. So 2P5 QC4. and that's what the code is to join. Weekly shout outs, good chat. We'll if one of your mates has joined the league and they've done something stupid, DM me, because I'd love to call them out the podcast, and we'll just we'll have fun, and hopefully we'll try to become the best mini league in the game. That's the intention anyway. So don't forget to join. 6:30 deadline on Friday. Don't leave it till last minute. There's loads of rumors going around saying that the site's crashed loads of times. I mean, the last time the site crashed was like 8 years ago before the deadline. But anyway, don't leave it till last minute. You'll make lots of bad decisions. But don't forget to follow us on social media, All In Football Pod on Instagram and All In Football Pod on TikTok, and then All In Football P on Twitter. I've put our team up, our podcast team up there as well today. So like, comment, share, tell us we're great, tell us we're not. We'd love your comments. Thanks for joining me today, boys. I appreciate your time, and we'll good luck with game week 1. Don't worry about it. Not too much rest on it, and we'll look forward. I can't wait for it to be over. Actually, because it's so much tinkering, it does my head in. I actually can't wait to play the game properly after this.
I can't wait to use my wild card in game week 2.
Oh, it's so good. I've not planned a week to use my wild card yet, because I hate it when people do that. You need to be flexible with it. But game week 4, I'm doing it.
You've planned week 7. That's a lie, Alex, isn't it? So
seven's in the background, but it doesn't have to be.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Rob Holden to score a brace on Friday night, and then one person triple captain Rob Holden.
I'll feature them on the podcast. I'll find whoever it is. I'll make sure I get them on. Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Good luck with game week 1, and I'll speak to you soon.